Hello everyone, this is Sachin, and in today's session I am going to talk about following topics. Those topics are what is WebDriver and what is JSON Wire Protocol, what are the main components in WebDriver, and what are the WebDriver APIs, and how to invoke API using Postman. So these topics I am going to cover in this session. Okay, let me move forward. So what is WebDriver? Selenium WebDriver is a collection of APIs which are used to automate the web application. Using WebDriver, we can perform action on browsers such as open browser, navigate to the browser, enter text, clear text, refresh the page, backward, forward, take a screenshot, click element, drag and drop. So there are many things we can achieve using by WebDriver. WebDriver uses JSON Wire Protocol over HTTP. WebDriver works on client-server architecture. Example, client libraries are Java, C#, Python, etc. and servers are different drivers such as Chrome driver, Gecko driver, Edge driver, Safari driver. So what does it mean? So when you go to Selenium website, so from where you can download Java client or Python client, C# client, and you can perform action on the browser. So here you require Chrome driver or Gecko driver. So these driver will work as a server and these are the clients. So between client and server there's something in between that is called JSON Wire Protocol, and from where it is making request to the actual browser. And here you can see here client means Java, C#, etc. and JSON Wire Protocol, this is in mid. These are the server browser driver, Chrome driver, Gecko driver, or it can be Safari driver, and here it is making call to the main browser, real browser. So it is a two-way. Here I haven't used the other way, but this is a two-way call. So from client to server using by JSON Wire Protocol, and from this server it is going to request to the real browser and it is returning back the request to server, and again we are getting on the client. So this is how the communication is happening. And in between this is a JSON Wire Protocol. This is very important component. And if you are using the Eclipse, then you will see the response on the Eclipse like is fail, pass, what is happening when we are sending any request. All right, let me move forward. And the component, if I talk about, WebDriver talks to a browser through a driver. Communication is two-way. WebDriver passes command to the browser through the driver and receive information back via same route. So here we can see here, this is the WebDriver, and here you can see bindings plus support classes, and it is making request to the driver. There is a Chrome driver or it could be any other driver, and it is making request to the browser. This is a two-way communication. Here we can see here the request going from WebDriver to driver, and from here it is going to the browser and we are getting the response back. Let me move forward. Now we will see other component. This is a different diagram, not component. So communication to the browser may also be remote communication through Selenium server or remote WebDriver. Remote communication can also take place using Selenium server or Selenium grid, both of which in turn talk to the driver on the host system. And here you can see this image. This is the framework WebDriver, and when we are using Selenium server or grid, then it will make request to the grid or server, and from here it make a call to driver and driver talks to the browser, and this is a two-way communication, will get the response back. Okay, so these images I have taken from Selenium website, and if you want to have more information, you can visit the Selenium website. I'll add all the link in the description. Now let me go to this. All right, and this is the Selenium website, and this is a download page, and here you can see here these are the client, Ruby client we can download, right? Generally we are downloading from here, right? Java client, all right, Python, C#, JavaScript, and we can add this client using by Maven, or we can add directly if you're using Eclipse or you are using some like different IDE. So we can directly add as well into the framework, and we can add using by Gradle or Maven. Alright, so these are the client what I was talking about. Now I talk about JSON Wire Protocol, right? So this is the one web page. If you this is a GitHub page, and if you go, you can just Google and just search JSON Wire Protocol. You will get this link. You can easily open. And here, yeah, this line: all implementation of WebDriver that communicate with the browser or a remote WebDriver server shall use a common wire protocol. This wire protocol defines a RESTful web services using JSON over HTTP. So these are the REST API calls. So whenever we are making any request using by our code, so in backend, those are the RESTful web services. Okay, so let me quickly do one thing. I'm not going to more deep right now. So let me open the Eclipse and let me create one very simple test case. So I'll say here login app. Let me use public static void main. So before writing any Selenium script, what we have to do? So first we have to decide like Chrome browser, Safari browser, Edge browser. So I'm going to use Chrome driver. So before, first we have to set driver path, system dot set property, key and value, and here WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and here we have to pass the path. And path I must have somewhere, yeah, this is the driver folder. Chrome driver dot exe. All right, I have set. Now WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. This is for creating the session. So the session created. Now driver dot get. This is for the opening any URL, the command get, right? So let me open this orange. Let me close this. So I am going to log in this application orange HRM. So I have navigating this URL. Now I have to enter username. I'm going to use XPath. All right. This is having other field as well, ID, but I am using XPath. Input. All right. This is a username. Driver dot find element by XPath, and this XPath I am entering the value. Now we have one more command like send keys, right? So using by this send keys, we can pass something for that element. So I have to enter this slide. Username is admin. So let me type here admin. Let me copy paste this line for password. And for password, text password. This is a very minor difference. Right, this is a password. This is a password XPath, and this is the password. Now let me click on this login button. Input type submit. All right. By XPath and dot click. and driver dot close. Generally this is a normal syntax what we knows, right? So what I'm doing, I'm setting the Chrome driver path and I am opening this URL, and in this URL I am finding the locator for username and I'm sending the keys like admin, and for password similar, like I'm sending the keys and I'm clicking on the submit button and driver is closing. All right, so let me execute this. Let's see what is happening. So Chrome driver is started and here URL is opening, username, password type, click on login, hit login and it will be close. All right, this is a basic syntax what I know. Okay, let it close. Now let me go. I have talked about JSON Wire Protocol, right? So JSON Wire Protocol, this is the RESTful web services. So what does it mean? Like, so whenever we are making any request like driver.get, right? Driver, this is we create session, right? WebDriver equal new Chrome driver. So this is a one API in the backend which is calling RESTful web services. So let me talk about first this. So the API called session. Here you can see a command summary in this section when you come, and if you see the post session, create a session, if you click here and you can read here, the server should maintain one browser per session. Commands sent to a session will be directed to the corresponding browser, and web element JSON object, and these are the capabilities we can pass. All right, so each command, so when we are saying driver.get, find element, send, these all are the APIs. The name is different, and what we are seeing here, so this is very easy, right? We can easily call method, and we can use in a chaining way, right? Find element, and then we are using send. We can also pass some keys as well. All right, but and here, so these calls, so if I say find elements, this is a one API, then send keys, the different API. All right, this is how it is working in the backend. So when I'm hitting the request from here, so I'm using here Java client of Selenium, and the request is going to the Chrome driver, that is a server, and from here the request is going to the browser, and we are getting back response here, all responses, whatever we are making call from here, and something error is happening, something is wrong is happening, we will see the error logs here because the two-way communication. All right, now one more important things here, JSON by protocol is not going to support, and here you can see here obsolete, see current W3C specification for WebDriver. Okay, let it open. So this is the W3C GitHub page. All right, so these are the main APIs. If you want, you can go through it whenever you'll get time. You will have more understanding, see your same API, but here you will see minor differences in few of the things, right? In action class, which is going to change, in action class we'll see many new things, like we can press multiple keys simultaneously, so there would be something addition in that API, and all the APIs now uh, they are developing as per the W3C standard, and uh, now this API, so whenever we are using different browser, we will see now very good result. And if I talk about like Selenium 3 WebDriver, which is work on JSON Wire Protocol, what I have shown here, and Selenium 4, which is going to use WebDriver W3C protocol. This is a web page here. You can go through here go through it and have detailed information from this web page. And one more important thing, so when Selenium 4 will come in the market, then it doesn't mean like Selenium 3 will not work. Selenium 3, there would be some different way, like Selenium is going to support using by Java binding or some other different way, because there must be some customers, some client, those are using Selenium 3. They don't like, to upgrade to Selenium 4. So it is not like if Selenium 4 is coming today and all are going to upgrade. This is not something like this. So they can take some time. So Selenium 3 would be support, and after some time, uh, it will not support. All right. And one more important things, like in Selenium 3 we can see here, like when we are executing on Chrome, and we are executing the same test case in different browser, and we are seeing different result, lots of flakiness. It is passing in Chrome and it's not passing in IE, and it is not passing in Edge browser or Safari browser. So lots of flakiness we we can see as of now. So once Selenium 4 will come in the market, we will see like WebDriver would be more stable because they are following W3C standard. You know, the flakiness will not be there, and the WebDriver would be more stable. All right. Now let me go back. So JSON by protocol. If these are the RESTful web services, so can't we hit using my Postman? Yes, we can hit. So right now what I have done, so here I have used, I have talked about it is based on client server architecture. So client I have used Selenium Selenium Java client, and the request go to Chrome driver. From there it requests go to actual browser. This is how it is happening. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to use Selenium Java client. I'm going to use Postman, and I'm going to use Chrome driver. How to make the request now? That is the main thing. So before I start, so this is the API for creating the session. All right. Then how to? All right. Let me go a little back. So this is the endpoint, right? So how to get the URL? To get the URL, you are having one Chrome driver, right? You must have the Chrome driver. Just double click on this Chrome driver, and I'm using 85.0.4183. I'm using this one, and the port is 9515. 9515 is a port. Here the Chrome driver is running. If you want, you can close, otherwise you can minimize. It's up to you. So if you go to, so this is the Postman, and first request the post, and post, this is a session. You can see the post, right? So I can say HTTP localhost 9515 port. Here you can see here 9515. All right, 9515, and this is a session. This is the endpoint. So if I click here, and here you can see you have to pass the capabilities, right? So capabilities, you can pass browser name, version, and some different parameter. All right. So this is the body. Let me go to the body, and let me select the row, and let me create the body. So body, I am going to pass capabilities, and in capabilities I am going to pass browser name, it would be in double quote, and this is a Chrome. All right, and let me, oh, it's closed already. All right, so this is how we can write. This is the post request, and this is the endpoint session, and this is the URL, this is the body. So when I click on send, so we will see the Chrome browser will open. It opened, right? All right. So what is the next? So if this is my Eclipse, right? So we have seen here, this is for creating the session. So this is the API for creating the session, right? Create session using with this API. And here what is happening? JSON Wire Protocol, using my JSON Wire Protocol, we are able to make the call. Now next is driver.get. So what is this API? This API called URL /URL, and this is the API here. You can see here session ID. So here we can see get and post. This one is a post, first one you can see here, because I am sending some URL to open. So when can we use the get? So we can use get driver.get current URL. So in this case, get API will call. Alright, so let me click on post, and here you can see here post session ID, URL, and navigate to URL, and this is a URL parameter, and this is a JSON parameter. Alright, so what, let me go to Postman. So this is the session ID. Session ID we can get from this response. So when I hit this first request session, so here it is returning the session ID. Alright, session ID, and here URL. Alright, I am following this one, this web page. In body JSON parameter, right? If I go to body, and it is saying you have to pass the URL, something like this, and pass directly one URL. In URL, this is the URL. Alright, so let me hit this request. So here we can see this session created. Alright, see, we can see here it is navigating to the respective URL whatever we are passing using by Postman. This is a REST API call. Alright, now what is next? Next is I have to find element. Alright, so I have to find this element. So for this is a different API. This API called the element. Okay, element. So this is the API for this is the next API element. Alright, so now we will use this API. In this API we can see here strategy, class name, selector ID, name, link text, partial link text, tag name, XPath. We can use any of them. And this is the URL parameter. In URL we have to pass session ID, and in body we have to pass using and value. So using something, what is the locator name, XPath, CSS something, and what is the value for that XPath or CSS. And here you can see here session ID we have to use across all the API. So let me hold as a globally. Okay, so let me go to my test. This is a test tab, and in this tab let me create one variable response, and response JSON dot parse, and here response body. So this response I am holding in this response variable, and from here I'll say pm dot environment dot set, and here I am creating one global variable. So global variable I'll say session ID, and session ID I'm going to pass from this response, and this is coming. Let me go through. Okay, it is in inside value, right? Okay, so let me type value dot session ID. Okay, so this is how we can hold it. We can hold session ID in one global variable. All right. Okay, let me save after some time. All right. So let me hit this request again, then we will see one new browser will open. Here it open, right? We can see here. All right. Now this time the session ID has been captured globally, and last time I have hard coded here, right? Session ID. So let me use from that variable. That is a best practice. We should not hard code, because tomorrow if session ID is changing, then we are not going to update, every time. It's very tedious task, right? So now let me hit this, and we will see here it will navigate. It is navigating, right? All right. Now next I have to enter username and password. So first I have to capture the element, right? This is the API. So let me make duplicate for this, and this is saying session ID and element, session ID and element. This is the URL element, and this is the post. And if you go to body, in body we can pass using and value, two things. Using, I'm going to use XPath, and what is the value? Value I am getting from Eclipse, right? So this is the value I am getting here. All right. So let me hit this. Let's see. The response would come. Something is wrong. Session ID. Oh, sorry. Here we can see there's a mistake here. It should be colon, right? Let me hit again. Yeah, I am getting the response. This is the element ID. Now I have to use this ID for the next call. So let me hold this in global variable. So global variable, this is the piece of code, and let me go to the test. Let me paste here, and this is coming from value, right? Okay, so this is the key I'm going to pass here, and this is the username element, right? Username element ID, correct? Username element ID. All right. So let me hit one more time, and this time it holded this value in this global variable. Now what is next? So till here we have done. This is the API element. Just I'm recalling, last endpoint. All right. Now we have to send the values. For send, we do have one different API that is called the value. Yeah, this one here we can see here. So session ID, element ID, and value. All right. So let me duplicate this. So session ID, element ID I have captured in one global variable, that is the global variable. And let me, all right, and /value, go to body. In body, here we can pass the values. So let me pass value. So this is a text, this is the admin. So in this web page, so when I hit this request, we will see it will type the admin into the username text box. So here session ID is coming, username is coming. Let me hit, see it type admin. All right. So this is how we can call the API from Postman. Okay, so before this, let me create one collection. So I should not lose any data. So automate Chrome driver and Postman. So I am using two things here, Chrome driver and Postman. I am not using some other things here. Okay, so okay, first let me save, create session, and this call open URL, and what is third? This third is what I'm getting the element, right? Body, I'm getting element, right? So let me save, get username element ID. So here I am getting element ID, this is important, and here sending username value. All right, so just I have saved all the API in this way, right? Okay, there was some error, what happened? Oh, all right, I should not use this. Okay, one more important thing. So this is the test. I haven't used any assertion, but we can also use assertion as well. How to use? So for assertion, we can write pm dot test verify status code as 200. This I'm going to verify, like status code should always be 200. Okay, so function started, and in this function I'm saying pm dot response dot to dot have. So pm dot response dot to dot have dot status, this I'm saying 200. If the 200, all right, and at last I'll close like this. So this is the function we can write. So verify status was at 200, and this is a function. Okay, so let me hit, so one browser will open. So when I hit here, so it is opening, right? And here we can see a test case 1. Okay, so it means pass 1. So let me make it 2 not 1. So at this time this will be fail. See, fail. So verify status code as 200, assertion error, expected response to have status code 2 not 1 but got 200. All right, so this is how we can add the assertion. for all the scenario. All right, so let me add this in all. So this is the open web page, and this is getting the element ID. And third one, this is like we are sending username value. Okay, so I have added this assassin for all the four request. Okay, now let, so where I am right now, so till here I have done right. Now next is this one for password field. Here for password, right? For password, let me take the reference for this. Okay, so this is the body, and for password, this is the password locator. Okay, let me first save this. Okay, now let me go to here. Actually, I click on save. I have to do save as, otherwise it will override my previous one. Okay, so this is password element, password ID, password element ID. Okay, no problem. Let me keep it same. This keys is same for all. So once I hit, then we'll see what is happening. So let me save as. Okay, and after getting this, now I have to send, right, the request. So let me duplicate this, and this is a password element ID. Here I am passing it globally, and in body the password is admin123. All right. So again okay, so let me save first this, and last one let me click on save as and sending password. All right, so password things are ready here for password field. Okay, so let me close all this browser. Now I have to click on login, right? So I'll execute after some time. So let me write all the steps first, then I'll execute this test case. So now I have to collect the ID for this login. So for login field, I have this locator. Go to body, and this is the locator. And if I go to test, and here I'll say login element ID, login. All right. Login element ID. Now I have to click, right? So this API is similar till here I have seen. Now for click, there is a one API called click session ID. No, not this. Yeah, this one. So this is the API for clicking for particular element ID. So here we can see a session ID and element ID. So let me duplicate this, and here we can see element and element ID. And for login element ID, I am capturing here, and here I have to pass click, and body, let it make empty. This is just a click. All right, and this is not, and last I'm using 𝗪𝗏.close. Okay, so let me call last API. So 𝗪𝗏.close mean this is the one called API called delete. So yes, session ID and delete the session. All right. So the URL is still here, and this is a delete request. Here you can see delete, and body, let me make it empty, and test B don't require anything, that is fine. Delete session. Click login button. Just I am saving all, then I'll execute one by one all the steps. And this is login element ID. This I have saved. This I have saved. Okay, so let me close all, otherwise confusion will happen. So if you're looking first time, so these are the API I have saved here. Okay, so here create session, and okay, let me recall all the API one by one. So for creating session, this is the API, and this is the body I'm passing, capabilities, capabilities, and browser name equal to Chrome. And in test, just I am holding, so one, when, okay, that I'll come later. Okay, so let me close first all the existing browser. Okay, let me hit again. Okay, so let me execute. Okay, the session created. Okay, so let me come here. So in this response, I'm getting session ID. This is very important because this you should have whenever you're making any call. So this I'm trying to holding globally. So if you see here, so JSON.parse response body, this the response body, one this is a predefined parameter. You have to write like this way, and I'm creating one variable response, and you can create xyz whatever, and pm.environment.set session ID. This is the global variable, and from this response I am just parsing session ID. All right, so it is inside value, and from value the session ID. So I am holding this global variable, and this piece of code for verifying the status 200. If it is coming 200, then test case will pass, otherwise test case will fail. This is syntax. All right, now let me come to next. So next API, this is the post call open URL. So if you compare here, you are seeing get, right? This is a similar API here. So session ID I am passing from global variable and URL, and in body I am passing this URL, and in test nothing is there, just verifying the 200 status code. Okay, here nothing is there. Let me hit, then we will see. All right, now let me open third. So third API, this is get the element. So when you're going to perform action, right, so you should have some locator, right, like id, xpath, css selector, link text, whatever parcel link text. So here I'm using xpath, and this is the API for getting the element. So session ID. So again, you can refer this web page if you want some more detailed information. All right, so here session ID and element. Okay, So this is a session ID, this is the element, and in body I am passing using XPath and what is the value. So this is the XPath for this field username, and in text I am just capturing the username element ID. So let me hit OK. So this I am getting response, so nothing will happen here, just I am capturing and it is giving this response. From this response I am holding this username element ID here in this global variable. This is a syntax, and this next piece of code to verify status goes to 200. Alright. Now third API, sending username value. So sending username value, this is one more API called value. At the last you can see value, and in this API you have to pass session ID, element ID, and value. And the previous API, as I said, I am capturing username element ID, this element ID for this globally. Same I am variable I use here, and I forward slash value, and in body I am passing this admin. Alright, in text nothing, just verifying the status code. So let me hit and let's see what is happening. See, it type admin. Alright, now let me open next API, get password element. This is similar for like first one. Okay, this is, give me a minute, text username, get password element. Oh, okay, I haven't replaced. So this is a mistake here. Okay, and password. Okay, so I am passing the password XPath and test password element ID. Okay, everything is fine. So let me hit this. So this is the response I'm getting here. Okay, and this is the ID. That ID I am capturing globally in password element ID variable. Now let me open next request for sending password. Okay, so previous one, this global variable I am passing here. Okay, and let me hit. So before you can see here, oh, I won't change the value, might be something happened wrong. Okay, so admin123 is a password, admin123. So let me save. So now let me click. So here you can see that nothing is happening. So when I click here, see, it type the password. All right, so next, get login element ID. So this is a getting element ID for particular element. So the element is submit button, this submit button, and in the locator for this login button is this. And when I hit, see, I am capturing here login element ID. So when I hit, so this is the ID generated and nothing is happening here. And this global variable I'll use in next API, click login button here. So body is nothing, empty, just I'm clicking on this element, and ID I have captured from previous request. So when I execute, then we will see it will click. See, it click. All right. Now in next request, this is called delete session. So in this, so this is just a delete, nothing, no body, and test just 200. So when I click, so this is the browser, right? So it will be closed. See, it closed. All right, let's just 200. So let me close all. So as I created the collection, so if I want, I can run as well as a collection. So you will see all the step by step. It will, the web page will open. Okay, let me make 20 millisecond delay. Okay, and let me execute. Now we will see what is happening. See, web page is opening. All right, it is keep loading. Username enter, password enter, click on login, and web page will be closed. Session will be closed. Okay, something is wrong. I understood what is wrong. Okay, 0 failed, an error occurred. Okay, so let me close. I understood what is the problem. All request success. Okay, the problem is here. Okay, the previous API. So when I'm clicking, so for clicking, I should not hold any variable, right? And you know that key doesn't exist. That is what it failed. Okay, now let me execute one more time. Okay, so delay I'll make 10 milliseconds, not more. Okay, so here we can see here browser is opening, and enter username, enter password, click on login, and session will be closed. See, all 9 test case pass, 0 fail. So this is how we can create the collection. So this is not the ideal way, just for the information purpose, how call is happening in the backend when we are using, like when we are writing code, right? So here how easily we can write, and what is happening in the backend, what are the API, and how those are interacting each other. So this session just for information purpose. And I'm not saying you have to automate by Postman, and that is not the ideal way, right? So that's all I want to cover in this session. And if you have if you have any question, if you have any doubt, you can write into the comment section. I'll reply whenever I'll get time. So thanks for watching this session, and hope it will help you, and hope you will understand how Selenium is working in the backend, and what is the architecture, and what is a JSON Wire Protocol, and what is a WebDriver W3C protocol, new protocol which is coming in Selenium 4. So hope those things are clear. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, and please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.